This is a relatively new Asus OLED gaming monitor that adds a feature I've desperately wanted on OLED monitors because I thought it would fix one of my minor niggles with OLEDs in the past. But does it? Well, before we find out, today's video is sponsored by everybody's favorite small nucleus, Micro Center. Micro Center is running a new customer exclusive where you can get a Creality Ender 3 V2 for $99. Wow. Must be in store to redeem. For everyone else, Micro Center's also got a back-to-school technology sale going at all 27 locations in the US, with location 28 coming to Miami soon. Sign up for early access and receive a free 256 gig flash drive redeemable once the Miami store opens. Links for all this micro madness down below. Now, I've spent a lot of time gushing over OLED gaming monitors like this 27-inch LG one, which apparently has been in and survived a bar fight. But despite my borderline inappropriate feelings towards these displays, I do have a couple of niggles with them. And one of those niggles I mentioned in my initial video on one of these LG displays almost a year and a half ago at this point. This OLED display tends to suffer from something called the dirty screen effect, where basically if it's displaying a solid white image, it looks, I don't know, a little bit grimy is probably the best way to describe it. And as far as I understood it, the reason for the dirty screen effect is because of the matte coating that LG uses on this display. And in that initial video, I urged companies to launch glossy OLED displays. And a year and a half later, it seems like my wish has been granted. But did it fix the problem? Now, the potential answer to my dreams is this Asus XG27, which was very kindly sent over by Asus for this video and has very similar specs to the LG monitor from earlier. Aside from the glossy panel and a stand that's a bit of a step back from the LG one, at least in terms of fully erect height. Gym locker bravery aside, the Asus stand is still decent, and it has a 1/4-20 mount on the top for you to attach like cameras and stuff, which is a really nice touch. I don't know why no one's done that before. Oh, and it also has this slot, which I assume is for you to rest your phone in. At least it works for that, which again, a nice touch. Now, in terms of the glossy coating, on first impression, it manages reflections pretty well. Obviously, the light bar is very visible on it. It's also very visible on the matte display. However, when it comes to smaller ambient light reflections, it's not that bad, even with the display turned off. It's not as good as the matte one in controlling those, but again, pretty good. But how about some dirty screen effect? Whoa, it looks very different. Although this initial stark difference was primarily down to picture profiles. That picture mode looks more similar to this, but there is just a little increment of additional punchiness on this. But that isn't the main thing I was looking for. So I hastily got two flat white surfaces up, and the difference was there. I mean, it's definitely better. Like the extent to which this has, there's almost like a sparkle to the white, whereas this still has it, but it's less prominent. I mean, less prominent's good, right? But honestly, it's not a huge difference. Oh, never mind. Okay, so the glossy coating didn't quite fix the problem I wanted it to, but it is definitely better. I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, but when you have a solid white image on both of them, you get a little bit less of that weird reproduction of white. And to be fair, like I said earlier, the problem isn't that huge. You do get over it pretty quickly, even on the matte finish. But either way, it is a little bit better on this glossy display. The thing is though, there's a lot more to like about glossy finishes than just potentially helping some dirty screen effect. When I initially set up these two displays next to each other, I was really impressed with how much more punchy and vibrant the image looked on the Asus display. Although this was a little bit of a bait, because when I fired up some Dota with the two displays next to each other, I realized that compared to the LG display, which looked pretty natural, the colors were just way too oversaturated on the Asus display. So I started playing around with the picture profiles on the Asus monitor and saw that out of the box it comes set to a preset called Scenery, which just wildly over accentuates the colors and crushes some black levels and stuff. It's the kind of picture profile profile you'd use on a TV in a shop so that it kind of stands out compared to other TVs and then baits you into buying it. But then once you get the TV home, it doesn't take you long to realize that it looks like it's busy ODing on LSD. The problem was, a lot of them look like that. Most of the picture profiles on this monitor are heavily stylized, which isn't something you want. You just want the display to accurately reproduce the content it's given. And some of these color profiles are really weird, like this MOBA one which sucks out all colors except for green and reds. As a MOBA player, I didn't find useful, but it may be to you, I don't know. Easily the weirdest one though is the night vision one. Why would you want this? What is the point of that? At the end of the day, I settled on just the user preset, which was the only one that was pretty flat looking out of the box and made the display look very similar to the LG one so that I could properly compare the difference between the two finishes. And the first thing is just gaming on both of these displays is magnificent. I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but we're pretty close to peak gaming display at this point. These are both spectacular. But I do prefer a bit of gloss, bit of glossiness. The difference between the two isn't huge because they don't have a very aggressive matte finish on the LG display, but you do still get just a little bit more of a vibrancy to the image, and I really like it. It's good. The best way I can describe it is that it's like with the LG display, you're looking at an image through slightly murky water, just ever so slightly murky. Whereas with the glossy display, it's clear Fiji water all the way through, and it just makes it that little bit more poppy. And a little bit of additional vibrancy and clarity on a panel that's already brilliant leads to some magnificent visuals. Now, when it comes to shortcomings, one of the main ones with glossy displays is, well, it doesn't hide glare very well. Although, for a glossy monitor, the coating on this Asus display handles reflections pretty well. Especially when the display is on, you don't really notice it that much. And there's quite a lot of lights and stuff going on in here, and I didn't find it distracting at any point. It only really becomes a problem when you have a bright sunny window right behind the display, but that's an issue for matte displays as well, so I guess unless you're gaming in a discotheque, the glossiness shouldn't be much of a turnoff. But yeah, I don't know, I really like this finish quite a bit more than I do the matte one, even if it doesn't fix the one thing I kind of wanted it to fix. I guess monitors just don't do white very well. I don't know. But anyway, with that, let me know what you think. If you've had any recent experiences with a glossy display that you didn't like or that you really liked, I'm curious to see kind of what you all think about this comparison. And yeah, until the next video, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.